अस्सलाम वालेकुम। आज हम अपना नया सब्जेक्ट स्टार्ट कर रहे हैं, स्ट्रेटेजिक फाइनेंस। और इसके अंदर जो है वो हम बात करेंगे कॉर्पोरेट गवर्नेंस की। जो हमारा फर्स्ट टॉपिक है स्ट्रेटेजिक फाइनेंस में कॉर्पोरेट गवर्नेंस। उसके लिए सबसे पहले आपसे रिक्वेस्ट है कि आप हमारे जैसे हमने ये इस डिफ़िकल्ट टाइम पीरियड में ऑनलाइन और डिस्टेंस एजुकेशन को प्रमोट करने के लिए चैनल हमने स्टार्ट किया है। तो आप सबसे रिक्वेस्ट है कि काइंडली आप इस वीडियो को जो है वो लाइक भी कीजिएगा और हमारे चैनल को सब्सक्राइब भी कीजिएगा। So our first topic is corporate governance related to strategic finance. And when we need to talk about corporate governance, as one student have just mentioned, we need to talk about the agency theory. So the agency theory states that there is existence of the separation of ownership and control, which means that if we talk about a joint stock company, there are two major groups. One group is the owners of the organization, who are the shareholders of that organization. They have the major stake in that organization. They are the persons who are being concerned with the long-term growth of the organization. They are the people who are basically facing all the benefits in the form of profits, or they have to suffer the losses if any of the business is having some losses. So there is basically two major groups in an organization. First one is shareholders, the owners of the organization. Second one is the management. The management are the people who are being run that business, who are running the operations of the organization. They are deciding the policies, so they are controlling that organization. So there are two groups. First one is the organization owners, and the second one is the management of the company who are controlling that business. So there is separation of ownership and control. And about 2 decades ago, there is increased media coverage has turned transparency, managerial accountability, corporate governance failures, weak boards of directors, hostile takeovers, protection of minority shareholders, and investors' activism into household phrases. So you might be aware of the name of Enron Corporation, and then there are WorldCom Corporation, and then there are many other well-known companies who are having corporate governance scandals. They are also being labeled as financial scandals. So what they have done, these companies are basically joint companies. They are having uh, giant structure. They are having large number of shares issued. They have larger cash flows. They are having larger amount of assets. But just because of poor governance mechanisms, they have become bankrupt, due to which thousands of shareholders have to suffer with losses. Many of the people have lost their lifetime savings. So all of these scandals have arose the problem and issue of corporate governance. So that is the background of corporate governance. So all of the financial scandals have make it necessary for the governance agencies to implement some rules and regulations for transparency, for protecting the shareholders, for better management of the organization. So therefore, there is increased media coverage related to corporate governance principles. And now many of us, even though we may not have studied or discussed corporate governance officially or formally, but we knew these terms like transparency, managerial accountability, corporate governance failures, weak board of directors, hostile takeovers, protection of minority shareholders, investor activism. We knew these terms. So these terms are basically the core corporate governance principles. And because they are being discussed and displayed by media again and again, now we are just familiar with these terms, just like household terms. So when uh, we talk about the separation of ownership and control, there is some agency issues like I just have a text from a student to discuss in Urdu. Is there any issue with the English language for understanding? अच्छा अब इसमें जो है वो हमारे पास